Okay, good afternoon. So I will officially bring this meeting to order. Welcome to our 5,715th meeting of the Rotary Club of Chicago. So today is our club assembly. So we will be going through our various reports from different committees. I have a few announcements, and of course we have our fun fact up first. So for those unfamiliar, I started this when I took over in July. Each week we provide a fun fact for different members, and then the next week they become trivia questions. So our member fun fact this week is Eric. Eric is a past president. Eric Kempel visited Myanmar under its previous military, I'm actually not sure how to say that word, is it junta? You pronounce it Jay or no, junta? He was working on a railway feasibility study in Myanmar and Thailand that was examining rebuilding the railway line made famous for both its construction and subsequent destruction in Bridge on the River Kwai. So we have a picture here from a few years ago when Eric was traveling. So that is this week's member fun fact. Here is from last week's, who has now become a trivia question. So remember, if you know the answer, you have to raise your hand, right? I'm just shout it out, raise your hand. So who made it in their mom's arms to the front page of the Berlin local paper a day after being born? Betsy? That is correct. Timo, is this your first sticker, Betsy? How many do you have, Ted? How many stickers do you have? Just one. Alita tends to stick her hand in the air very quickly, usually. Okay, so yes, the correct answer is Timo, who made it into the newspaper the day after he was born. So a few announcements before I turn it over to various committee chairs. For our visitors in the room, we have school grants that we run each year with the Chicago Public School System, and those go out in the spring for the following academic year. So what we have here is our first volunteer opportunity. This is to volunteer to be in the first, oh, good luck with that, it's always crooked, to be a mentor or coach for the first Lego League. So it's not first as in it's the very first one. First is an acronym, but they're looking for volunteers to be a mentor for this Lego League for Poe Classical School. It's to be an assistant coach or a mentor to children interested in STEM for several weeks. So this is a little bit of a time commitment. The final competition will be in December. So if you are interested, you've got the email address there for Patricia. This is also in the gyrator and in the weekly email. So if you are interested, you can reach out to her. You will need to fill out the background check for CPS. Okay, so with that, Wes, is there anything that you would like to come up and report from the Community Service Committee? Okay. So if you're going to speak, you know you got to come up here so our Zoom people can hear you. No, I don't think so. I think it's just you and me. Yeah, So the only thing that I thought of when I saw this was the Thanksgiving Day event, but the problem is I don't have any details. So yeah. So at the last Community Service Committee, the committee heard a presenter, and we will be volunteering on Thanksgiving Day. There are two shifts, one in the morning and one sort of mid-afternoon, something like that. But we don't have details, but you can, I'm just kind of putting a bug in your ear that there will be a Thanksgiving Day opportunity for volunteering for anyone who is nearby. Anything else you think? Yes, so I mentioned the CPS grants with that previous slide, and we do intend to do that again and maybe even the college scholarship perhaps again. That's up to the committee to decide. So we'll be discussing that at our October meeting. So does that complete your report, Wes? Okay. Okay. All right, so we'll move forward then. The computer is frozen. There we go. Okay, either Andrew or Nancy or both. Come on up. Good afternoon. So do we have do we have to do our own slides? You're like technical support. That's, you always are, so. Well, I think that as we've seen going forward with a lot of things that are going on with the club, that membership is really a critical committee. And so we're working to kind of get that re-energized and go forward with being specific and regular with our meetings, but also getting membership in that committee. So with that in mind, we are asking people to consider that, you know, sometimes biting off a whole committee feels daunting, but we have a lot of parts of the committee. And so we put together the slide, and it'd be great if we can also do that in an email or gyrator to really get that out to membership. Because when you break it down, it's such an integral part of the club. But we have things such as promoting that membership, and that involves getting information from within our group about what are we about, what's the elevator speech that we want to be able to provide to people about why become a member. New leads, follow up. Some people may not be aware. I learned quickly that Rotary One is quite a different animal, and we get a lot of leads. Having been a member of a different club, that was quite news to me, but that's a good thing. But we need to be a little more organized in how are we following up on those leads, and having someone designated to do that would really help. Because of those leads, we also, that's a communication thing that we then help people. Once we have a lead, what is the path to membership? What do we need to be doing? Who are we communicating with? That kind of follow-up. We also have a lot of data on DAC-DAB, which I admit to still struggling with, and I'm kind of a techie person, but so we want to be able to manage that. Engage in orientation. Once we have that member, how do we make sure that we're engaging everyone? One of the parts of that, of course, is mentorships. So talking about that. And then again, retention. What are events and ideas that we should be talking about as a committee to help retain members? And then when people move on, whether it's for jobs or other reasons, we need to make sure that we're talking to them and doing an exit interview. And then also just developing, hey, what are some things we've heard about in the community? I attended to the Peace conference yesterday at Daily Plaza, met two people and said, you should come to our meeting, and there they are. They're not from around here, but we like to have Rotary connections and other people that are engaging in the club. So we just wanted to lay out that there's a lot of pieces that can be bit off by the memberships. And so we'll be reaching out. We're looking to grow the committee so that we can grow and engage our members.
Nancy said it all pretty much. I want to thank Nancy too, because with new baby, she's definitely taken point the last couple of months. One of the things that we really do need to do with our club is make membership something that is every member's responsibility, and also make it something where it's fun, because this is something that we all really care about and we want to go ahead and grow. And so one of the things here, like Nancy said, if you cannot, because we really do need to get more people joining the membership committee, it hasn't been nearly as active as it needs to be. And for our club to be as successful as we want to be, that means we have to have membership club being one of, if not our most active subcommittee. But even if you can't do that full commitment, if you can commit to at one of these meetings, if we have a guest here who is a new potential member, scheduling some time to one-on-one with them so they can know all the things that Rotary's meant to you, the benefits that you've gotten out of it. That extra different level of touch makes a difference for somebody staying a year, because while Nancy's right, we do get a lot of leads with these Rotary One because of Rotary One. We're not doing a good enough job of keeping people, fostering them, and kind of also making sure that we're doing those things. So that's the job of membership committee. We've got a lot of work right there too. So any suggestions, any ideas, we always are open to as well. And thanks, Nancy.
And you'll all be hearing from us.
Exactly. So thanks so much.
Thank you. So just as a sidebar, I went home to my hometown this weekend. I attended my hometown Rotary meeting on Friday, which I'll talk about in a second. But I went home specifically to volunteer for my hometown Rotary Oktoberfest. And that was a really fun experience. But what's interesting for my hometown Rotary is it's the same issue. Everybody talks about membership. Like, it doesn't matter what Rotary Club or where you are, everybody talks about membership. So my hometown Rotary Club, there's actually 2 Rotaries, but the meeting that I attended, first of all, is a singing club, which I didn't know that was a thing. And it's definitely a thing. I think they sang 3 times in 40 minutes. So they sang. But the point I want to bring up here is I asked them how many members they have. And so they have just over 100, which is about like us as well. So we have just over 100 members. At that particular meeting, it was the planning meeting for the Oktoberfest, which was the next day. So they probably had what we normally have, like 20, 25 people there at their meeting, which is what we normally have. But I was speaking with the president, and he said, you know, we have about 100 members. And he asked me, like, how many is your core? And I was like, well, we have about 20. And he was like, the same. He's like, 20 do 80. That's what he said, meaning 80%. 20 people do 80% of the work. So it's definitely a concern amongst multiple Rotary clubs. And the membership committee currently is a committee of 2. But you have a new person, because I met him a week or 2 ago that he wanted to join your committee. I think Tricia was going to forward his name. I don't remember his name. Yeah. So definitely follow up, because you have someone interested in joining your committee. It can be a trio. Okay, so I am going to give the PR and marketing report as well as the DEI report. So Neetha sent some information in, so I'll just stick up here and do this. So these are Neetha's words. Many thanks to the Big Buzz team for their amazing social media and marketing efforts. Because of those efforts, we have really been growing our social media presence. So for the visiting Rotarians in the room or online, make sure you are following us on social media. We're on pretty much everything you can think of: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, LinkedIn. I think those are the major ones. And so the committee is working to be more efficient in their marketing. We switched to a monthly gyrator. So the gyrator is our newsletter. It used to come out weekly, but we switched it recently to monthly. They are considering revisiting the use of text marketing and then also reviewing website engagement. So for our members, do make sure that you send in your updates, send in your spotlights. I'm still looking for fun facts from members. I'd like to have if we have 100 members, I should have 100 fun facts, and so far I have about 8. So please continue to send those in. And if you are interested in joining the PR and marketing committee, it sounds like they have a meeting this Thursday at 4:30. So that is PR and marketing. She's also for the DEI committee. So Nancy mentioned this. The Peace Day happened yesterday, right? And so Nancy mentioned that she met these 2, right, in Daly Plaza. So we have a picture here on the right with Neetha, and Ryan is there too. Ryan is one of our board members and a committee member for DEI. And then we've got some pictures here so you can see what that was like. And they meet bi-monthly. So the next meeting is that's today, right? So the next meeting is today. So if you were interested in joining that, the link, I believe, is on the calendar. So they've been discussing some upcoming ideas related to year-end holidays, a movie night, perhaps a foreign film festival. Okay, I don't have a report for Job 1, but for those in the room, what Job 1 is is it's basically our signature project that this club does each year in the summer, and it takes high school junior and seniors and places them in paid internships. So we solicit applications from high school juniors and seniors, and we pair them up with employers. And so in the springtime, there's a big push to get employers to take on these interns. And so the number of students varies. Like last year, we only had a couple, but we've had anywhere like 10, 15 students take part in the project, and they get trained. So they get trained on how to do job interviews. They get basically trained on do's and don'ts, and it is a real job, and they get paid. And then there's in August, like the big Job One luncheon, and there's some scholarships that are given out as well. So we're sort of in the downtime for Job One right now. That'll pick up again in the spring. Okay, so I'm going to bring Betsy up as our International Service Committee member to give this report. Yes, there is a slide. Yeah, just one slide, I believe. So everything that they send is on this slide.
I'm the fourth person here on this list. Everybody else had to go out of town, so they recruited me to do this. So I'm gonna, yeah, it's going to be pretty ad lib. This is a list of the projects we've been doing recently with the International Service Committee. The first in Paraguay is developing, actually raising the funds for a device for brain surgery, and it basically holds the head still and allows the surgeons to cut the hole so they can do the surgery. Right now, they're cutting the hole manually with like not a skill saw, but a jigsaw. Yeah. We have done a couple of these before in Bolivia, and apparently the results of the surgeries are absolutely phenomenal after they're in place and the folks are trained. We're working in conjunction with Solidarity Bridge up in Evanston, and they provide the medical missions to go down and train the hospital personnel on how to use the equipment, how to select patients, and then how to treat the patients after they've had the surgery. It's been a wonderful partnership. In Sierra Leone, this is one that Katie Hanlon's been working on very hard. We're providing 2 container loads with medical equipment from Project Cure. Katie is the CEO, well, not CEO, the executive director of the Chicago Project Cure. What they do is put together container loads of equipment that hospitals and clinics need around the world, and then work with a partner to finance the shipments. And we're the partner to doing the financing the shipments on this. In Egypt, Nick Latimer is doing his master's program. Nick, if you recall, was a Rotary member, very active. He should be finishing that up pretty shortly. In Serbia, the program is to train trainers to teach sign language to the deaf. It originally started out as a larger project that, after we worked on it for a while, figured out that part of it was unfeasible. We've reduced it down, and we're working with the Rotary clubs in Serbia on this project. In Bolivia, we have the First Five Collaborative going on. And the first 5 clubs, Chicago, and I'll probably get these out of order, but San Francisco, Los Angeles, Oakland, and Seattle, first 5 clubs. And this is a project to prevent and raise awareness of HPV in women and hopefully reduce the incidence of cervical cancer. There's been some developments in testing recently where the women can do swabs of themselves, and that they're tested then for the DNA of HPV. And this is a project to, I think we've got it up to 7,500 women to be tested in Bolivia. We did a trial project recently and found that about a third of the women were testing positive for HPV, and those that were tested positive were referred on for treatment to make sure that if they didn't have cervical cancer, great, but if they did, getting the treatment for the cervical cancer, which is a huge killer of women around the world. We hope to do a project after this where we're trying to finance some of the vaccinations. So I guess that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to tag in on this one, and you are the first to hear. This is brand new information. So in February of each year is when we have our fundraiser, right? We center it around the Rotary birthday or Rotary anniversary. So it's February 23rd. And this year coming up is the 120th one. So it's kind of a big deal. And so we already have the date, the location, and the theme set for our February fundraiser. It will be on February 23rd. So it just happens to be a Sunday. From 1 to 4. It will occur at Chicago Theater Works, which is on Belmont. I can't remember the other cross street, but it's on Belmont, Chicago Theater Works. And the idea that I had is to feature specifically the countries that we either have current projects in or have had projects in. And I've spoken with Katie, who's one of the co-chairs, and they are going to select the countries to be showcased. And so for the countries that they choose, we're aiming to find some sort of cultural performance from that country. So for Bolivia, for example, Bolivia has dancers that perform in parades and at various events. So the idea is to have them come and perform. And so we'll hear about the project that Rotary One has done or is doing in Bolivia. We'll have a performance, and then we'll have a time when people can donate if they wish. And we'll just do that. I think Katie decided about 5 countries. So she's going to discuss with the committee which countries she would like to spotlight with the committee. And then our job will be to find either dancers or singers or musicians or something to come showcase their talents and maybe get some testimonials from people who are directly affected by our project in that country as well. So definitely save the date. Again, that's February 23rd from 1 to 4 at Chicago Theater Works. So that is brand new information. Okay, well, it's my turn. So I was installed as president on June 25th, and everybody told me that, you know, how much work it'll be, and I'm like, it'll be fine. And then immediately when I became president, it felt different. It felt different immediately. So I'm a few months in as president. I very much enjoy running these meetings. There's a lot that happens behind the scenes that people don't know about, that people don't understand unless you've been president. So all the ones who were telling me, oh, there's so much work, were past presidents. They knew what they were talking about. And so they are correct. It is a lot of work. Sometimes I just have to turn my email off and then check it in later. Otherwise, I would get none of my grading done. So I've turned that email off sometimes. But one thing that I did start is monthly fellowship meetings. So normally this would have been a fellowship meeting where there's no speakers. We all just sort of hang out. At the July one, I think, is the one where we did the service project with Snow City Arts. And then in August, we did a SWOT analysis. So what I have here are the results from this SWOT analysis. So I think at that meeting, I think we had about our regular group, like 20, 25 people. And so what I've done is I've summarized from each of the tables. And so we'll start with the strengths, and you can see that there are a lot here. So this is a summary of what each of the tables. So I'll just give you a moment to kind of run your eyes through that and all of the strengths that we have as a club. So when Nancy and Andrew were up here and talking about membership and focusing on the why, for a lot of people, this is their why, right? This is why they, not just why they join, but why they stay. And that's really, it is important to get people to join, but it's really important to get people to stay and be engaged. So you can see all of the strengths that we have here. Fellowship being, they're not in any particular order, but a lot of people enjoy the fellowship. So let's move forward then and focus here on the weaknesses, because strengths are great, but we're only as strong as our weaknesses. So one of the things that was mentioned is relying on Rotary One as a crutch. So we are Rotary One, and there's a lot of responsibility. Like I said, I just went home over the weekend, and that's one thing that people said to me, like, oh, that's a lot of responsibility. And I said, yes, it is. But we tend to rely on Rotary One instead of really marketing ourselves. We just kind of sit in that pocket, which is a weakness for us. We are an older club. We have lost a lot of members, and we haven't replaced as many as we have lost. So our numbers have come down. Mentioned also is a lack of younger members to carry on the club. And so it's like we need younger members to draw in more younger members. So I definitely am not saying that we don't value our older members, because we 100% do. But we, in order for the club to carry on, we need the next generation as well. When we see a bullet like this, it has asterisks. That's how many tables reported it. So I had 4 tables, and every single one of them said cost, that our cost is high. Our dues are high, lunch is high. So that is definitely a problem. Not changing to meet the times, low contributions to foundations. So this low contribution to foundations, this is going to come back and bite us. Because if we're not giving money now, we're not going to get that money back in the future. So the number and I don't want to say quality, I'll say number, the number of projects that we're able to do is going to decrease because we don't have the money. Low recruitment of new members and low meeting attendance. This is actually really low. I haven't been at a meeting that's this under attended, I think, ever. So I don't know. It's like the Stawicki's aren't here, Poncho's not here. So it's like a lot of it's like they all were just like, we're not coming today. And they just left it at that. But yes, normally we're running about 20, 25. Before COVID, we were like 60, maybe, because we'd meet in the other room. I remember when I first started, we would always meet in the other room. Yeah. So at this point, if we have 25, like last week, it was like, oh, this is a lot of people. And it was like 23 people, right? Okay. So opportunities. A couple of people mentioned social media. So really taking a hold of social media. Big Buzz does a great job with promoting, and then the PR marketing committee works with them to do that. But we need better marketing to tell our story. Do you know who the best marketers are for our club? You are. You are. I'm the face just because I'm the president, but we're all Rotary One, right? And we have visitors in the room who are going to go back and tell their Rotary Club about Rotary One, just like I talk about my Jacksonville club, right? So we need to make sure that we are telling our story. Re-energizing absent members. Thinking of Rotary as a third space. This is actually a term that I only recently learned about. So third space is like after home, after work, where is your place that you want to be, right? So that is the third space. So I mentioned how much I enjoy running these meetings, and a lot of why I enjoy running these meetings because I get to hang out with my fellow Rotarians. So that is one way that we can think of Rotary as that third space, so pushing that idea. The value proposition, like what are you getting out of this? Providing opportunity for networking and fellowship, and then one table mentioned that there's this hunger for connection, that we're tired of isolation after COVID. And so those are opportunities that we should hone in on. And then lastly, threats. So we do still have a continued work from home policy. So before COVID, our members worked downtown. So they would come here to eat lunch, because you still got to eat, right? So they would come here to eat lunch, they would hear our amazing speaker, and then they go back to work. But with the work from home policy, a lot of things change. You can see that 2 tables said that. There's 1 asterisk, so 2 tables said that. Cost of meeting and dues. So we are discussing a change. We are discussing that. So just so you know, and the October 1st meeting, which is off-site, that might be one that you want to check out for a couple of reasons. So I'll get to that slide here in a little bit, but the location of the October 1st meeting might be one that you want to check out for yourself. Other threats are competing organizations and or time commitments. We're not the only service organization in Chicago. And so there's a lot of organizations that people can do service with for free, right? And so we have to be able to sell, why would you join a club to do service and pay for that? So we're not just a service club, we are a fellowship club as well. For me, I love the idea that now I can, anywhere I can go visit a Rotary club, just like we have Rotarians come and visit here. So I've been to the one in Tokyo, I've been to the one in Jacksonville, Toronto, St. Augustine, Florida. Like everywhere you go, there's a Rotary club because there's 45,000 of us clubs around the world. And so that's what separates us, I think. Membership spiral, very similar to what I talked about earlier with if we can get younger members, then we get more younger members because they see themselves reflected. But with a membership spiral, if we start losing, then we continue to start losing. So we want to pump the brakes on that. Inflation as costs rise, and then the threat continues to be people are interacting less and on their phones more. So as we look at this SWOT analysis, really think about what your why is. It's something I talked about in my installation speech. You know, what your why is, why you continue to be a Rotarian, and then that becomes part of our story, right? Things that we talk about when we talk to others about Rotary. So with that, are there any questions or comments from anyone in the room? And if so, you'll have to, I'll just repeat what you say unless you want to come up to the mic. So any questions or comments, or if we have any comments in Zoom, you can just put it into the chat. Anyone in the room? Andrew. Andrew. So that our Zoom people feel connected. Yeah. We're moving pretty well though. Yeah. I know it's been a while.
All credit to the amazing team at Northwestern Department. I was going to say, with the third space, our table, I think, was one of the ones that had talked about that. And when we talk about attracting younger members, one of the biggest opportunities that Rotary has everywhere, so for our visiting Rotarians, I think this applies to you as well, across the board for people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, even into the 50s, there are fewer and fewer places as church membership declines, as things like Masons, Kiwanis, you pick your club or whatever it is, those kind of things have all been on the decline right here. But it doesn't mean that there isn't a huge need or demand for community, for being able to have a place that you can actually go ahead and interact, especially people with like-minded values. So when we think about how do we attract these younger members, how do we make that third space in place, but also then you have to kind of think about the caveat, that's got to be a third space you actually want to go to, right? So that place has to be affordable, it has to be engaging and everything too. But I think really thinking about how we can think about the opportunity Rotary presents to an entire new generation to kind of create this community that they don't have these spaces for. I really think that's something that is a really great opportunity for our club particularly. So that was my last comment.
Anyone else? Like a turn at the mic? Questions or comments? So it's not like today is your only opportunity to speak. At any point, if you have questions or comments or concerns, those can certainly be brought up to me at any point during my year. When my year is up, I'm out the door. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally just kidding. Okay, so let's move forward then. And we have a few visiting Rotarians and guests. So if in the room, if my visiting Rotarians and guests, you're just going to come up and line up. We all know who you are, so you might as well just come up. So just form a line and you just come up one by one and just take 1 to 2 minutes max Just tell us who you are and where you are coming from. So you are first, you'll step right up, and when he's done, you'll just rotate through.
Hi, I'm Matt Elson. I'm coming from Frisco, Colorado. We have the Summit County Rotary Club there. And yeah, just visiting Chicago on my way back from Indianapolis at the Nonprofit Innovation and Optimization Summit. So yeah, thank you for having me, guys. And it was great meeting Nancy at the event yesterday. Yeah, absolutely. If there's any skiers, that's the place to come.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I'm Bob Taylor. I'm a visiting Rotarian from the Rotary Club of Grand Cayman in the Cayman Islands. I'm here with my son. Our club's about 90 members, and we have a much more social kind of engagement because there's not a lot to do in the Cayman Islands. So, but this is my actually second time here at this club, and it's great to be visiting. And I'll turn it over to my son.
Good evening. Well, no, it's afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm Patrick Taylor. I'm a guest. I have been coming to Rotary meetings for probably about 10 years since my dad joined, but I'm coming from Lawton, Oklahoma. I don't recommend visiting, but I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Manish Chandrasekhar. I'm coming from the farthest place. I'm coming from Rotary Bangalore Midtown. I worked as a road track president for 2 years, and now I'm working as a Gen X satellite member, one of the youngest team members of the clubs. And I'm here actually accidentally, thanks to Matt, whom I came down for the event. But happy to be here and here to explore opportunities. If anyone wants to do cross collaboration with the work we do or with the Rotary Club I'm associated with. Thank you all.
Everyone for being here. Yeah, so this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is one of the, it's hard to pick just one favorite moment of every meeting, but if I had to pick one of my favorite moments of every meeting, it's that we get people that come visit us from everywhere. So we've got the Cayman Islands, we've got India, and we've got Colorado here to see us, right? And so that's just, oh, in Oklahoma, right. Well, he told us not to come visit, so I didn't want to. Yeah. And then we've got, visiting Rotarians online as well. So that is part of our fabric. That's part of our story. So wrapping things up here with some announcements. So we haven't had a Tuesday night meeting for a couple of months. But normally our first Tuesday meetings of the month are offsite at night. So this one is Ina Pinckney, and this is the restaurant that we will be meeting at. This is on Randolph, so it's in Streeterville, I guess. Is that the name of the neighborhood, Lakeshore East? Yeah. Okay, it's on Randolph. It's called Avley on the Park, and then, so is that next Tuesday? Right, it's already almost October. Yeah, all right, so yeah, so it's next Tuesday at 5:30. So do go online and register for that. Ina Pinckney will be our speaker. We'll have dinner. So it's a little bit different format. I've not been to this restaurant. I don't know what the AV thing is, but this is an in-person event. And as I mentioned earlier, this might be a restaurant that you want to go see for yourself. Yeah. Only on the microphone, though.
Okay. Because it's important. Okay. So this restaurant, Ubers have a hard time finding it. Everyone has a hard time finding it. Technically, the address is on Randolph, but it is in the pocket neighborhood there, Lakeshore East. So, so you go up. So if you're walking or coming from the Brown Line or whatever, you can go all the way up Randolph, but you won't see it. You will pass 340, the building 340 East Randolph. You'll pass the Blue Cross Blue Shield, 340, Buckingham. There's a street that goes in the neighborhood with a sign, Lakeshore East. You go in there, and just around the corner, there's a park, and it's just around the corner on the park. So just know that it's a little tricky. Also know that there's a Mariano's next door, and their parking lot does usually have a 2-hour, they used to have a 2-hour parking deal, so there's 2 parking garages in that neighborhood. But just know, it's Lakeshore East, it's a little tough to find. Yeah, it's because, yes, it's Uber's like, I cannot find it. So I would map that Mariano's, but know that it's just behind Randolph. There is a park and a neighborhood there, and you'll see the sign Lakeshore East. And it's a lovely neighborhood, but a lot of Chicagoans don't even know it's there because it's relatively new. So just know that their address can be a little deceiving.
All right, well, thank you for that. Maybe we should put you out on the street with a rotating sign or something. We'll dress you up as we'll dress you up as a rotary wheel, and you can just point people this way. Okay, yeah, so please do register for that. So Ina is a polio survivor, and so she comes and speaks with us each year. Yeah. Okay, so this is what I was mentioning at my table. On Tuesday, October 8th, is the Hanover Girls Choir performance. So this is a large event because there's a lot of them. They told us 70 of them were coming. So obviously we can't fit in here. So we're gonna meet across the way, where my installation was across the way. And so it's a regular lunch meeting. It's lunch and a show. So they'll be performing for us, and the conductor will say a few words as well. So if you haven't registered for that, please do so. That is Tuesday, October 8th. The first Monday of each month is our Rotary Means Business Fellowship. They meet at Cafe Chow. So let's see. So that would not be this Monday. This Monday, I guess, is the 30th. So the following Monday will be our Rotary Means Business Fellowship. They meet at Cafe Chow, which is on Madison towards the West Loop. I don't know, Ted, what's the other cross street? Do you remember? It's Madison and Cafe Chow, Sangamon. Okay, so it's towards the west loop. So you don't have to be a Rotarian to come. This is a networking event. So networking is the primary goal of this one. Doesn't cost anything to attend either. Every Friday is our Rotary Roundtable. This is networking and fellowship. It's informal. They meet on the 4th floor. There's no speakers or anything. Just Rotarians get together and hang out. Ted is always there with Richard, and so they're sort of our ambassadors for the Friday Roundtable. Anyone in here planning on going to Calgary? Oh, wonderful. So Calgary is where the next convention is. So that is June 21st to the 25th. You definitely want to look if there's even a iota of thoughts that you're going to attend. You should look into it because the cost goes up as you get closer. So I think the first cutoff is in December. Yeah, and the hotels can get booked as well. So it hasn't been in North America for a little while, so I expect that those hotels will get booked. So if you're like, I wonder if I should go, just definitely look into it because otherwise the price is going to go up. So we have some birthdays to celebrate as well for this month. We've got Travis, Richard, Tim, and Delia. So happy birthday to our members. So I mentioned earlier that I don't remember if it was a weakness or a threat, but you should consider it both. We definitely need to make sure that we're staying up with our donations. I don't like standing up here asking you for money, but I have to stand up here and ask you for money. Not right, you don't have to give me money now, but if you want to, that's fine. But you should call the office and make sure you set up how you're donating, whether you want to fold it into your dues each month or you want to give a lump sum. But we definitely use that money for our projects. I mentioned earlier that our social media is on fire, so make sure that you are following us. You have plenty of options there. These meetings are recorded, so for any of our visiting Rotarians, if you'd like to check in and see what we're doing, you can visit our YouTube channel. And I would just like to say thank you for attending today. We are small but mighty, and I always appreciate time to hang out with you. It's probably one of my favorite times of the whole week is when I get to hang out with you guys. So I appreciate your company. So with that, we will lead into the four-way test. This is the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Number one, is it the truth? Number two, is it fair to all concerned? Number three, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Number four, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And then our number five, will it be fun? So with that, I bring this meeting to a close, and I hope to see you all next week. And bring a buddy. Thank you. Thank you to those who came on Zoom as well.